Blackie and the Rodeo Kings got together over a love for a fellow musician, writer, a guy named Willie P. Bennett. A guy that I guess can be considered an unsung hero as far as Canadian singer-songwriters go. And probably a fellow that we consider to be a bit of our mentor. Willie inspired each of us in his own way, even though we come from different backgrounds. Colin, from what he is known for, is in the blues tradition. Stephen Fearing, in more of a folk singer-songwriter, and I come from a rock and roll background. Willie P. Bennett's music and the records that he made during the 70s, actually in Hamilton, Ontario, seem to transcend all those genres of music and inspire us as artists individually. What we wanted to do was separate our creative and musical lives and the spirit that we put into that, separate that from our home lives. I think there's something detrimental to somebody coming and applying themselves, and that's really all you're doing is applying yourself for a day, recording, and then getting in a car and driving home. I think that you have to find a space where you wake up, walk downstairs, have a bite to eat, and you're standing in the studio. If you could actually sleep right in the studio, that'd be a really good situation for me. Because for a short period of time that you're making that record, doing bed tracks, I think that there should be nothing else in your life than that. I think it lends itself to the recording process. With this record, Woodstock, New York was just such a perfect place. Bearsville was such a perfect place to be doing what Blackie and the Rodeo Kings do, which I like to call the middle-aged Lord of the Flies. We kind of eat a lot of red meat, and drink a little red wine, smoke a little weed, and play a whole lot of music. I have always considered drummers to be bus drivers. You know, you might all be fooling around on the school bus, you know, playing a little too loud or fighting, you know, and in the whole time that's going on, there has to be somebody driving the bus and taking it down the road. That's usually the drummer. That's Gary Craig for sure. Malcolm Byrne walked into the studio. He's kind of like a wizard. Kind of looks like a British schoolboy wizard. Malcolm Byrne is somebody who always has a fantastic idea that you aren't going to find anywhere else. Johnny Dymond was built by aliens in a town called Grafton, Ontario, and that he has the appearance of a human being, but is actually made out of old tractor parts. Richard Bell is just a god as far as what he brings musically to a room. He's a bit of a problem child. We call him rehearsal exempt because he really doesn't need to rehearse. And to a certain extent, he could be gig exempt. Really, you could just pay Richard Bell to be at home thinking about the music that you're playing rather than even be there. John Whynot is a friend of us all. And once again, a guy who has a real love for music. He also is a fantastic musician, really fantastic guitar player, really outstanding piano player. He's a great guy and a great spirit to be around. One of the gifts of recording in Woodstock and recording at Bearsville was having access to Garth Hudson, who is kind of a magician. He's a magician because his presence in a room, you wouldn't even notice he was there unless you were plugged into what he was playing. I think that everything that he has to say to anybody on this planet can be put through an accordion or a piano or an organ. We make a real conscious effort to break for dinner. It's not the kind of studio attitude where you run out and get yourself a pizza or a hamburger, you know. There's a very spiritual way of life in making a Blackie and the Rodeo King record, even down to the food that we eat, and the preparation of the food, and the fact that we all sit at a dinner table together and we eat together and we celebrate the day together. It's unconsciously become a really monumental part of our lives, I think. Anyways, the after-dinner sessions that happen on every record are usually a little bit different than the daytime sessions. They're a little more laid back. Johnny and Gary probably have had a couple of glasses of wine. So the rhythm sections, you know, there's a little bit more space in between the notes, I think. Colin Linden had a vision, like the big rock Candy Mountain, with the spirits of Howlin' Wolf, Rick Danko, and Professor Longhair to guide him. He saw a place where people were allowed to be free to commune with one another, the Most High place, with no impediment from the oppressor, where people could eat and drink what they want to, and their transgressions were viewed as a path to their salvation, where one and all could gather and squeal with joy. Let's frolic. Colin Linden is the producer of Let's Frolic. He's also been our producer for the last 10 years on The Kings of Love, on our last album, B&RK, and on our very first outing, High or Hurtin', the songs of Willie P. Bennett.